What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm recording this on Saturday, which means we're going to do our sealed singles and slabs over $1,000, starting off with sealed product. I think a lot of cards this week have actually pulled back a little bit, but there's still some cards that are reaching all-time highs, and we're going to see some ridiculous sales on first-time cards showing up on this list. So stay tuned for that. Starting off, we have a case of OP12 booster boxes. This went for $1,115 through Probstein. I think this comes out to like 91, 92 bucks, something like that. I think a couple weeks ago when we were looking at these, they were in like the 85 to 87 range. So even OP12 at this point is getting slowly more expensive, and I think that's just going to continue if we don't get more booster boxes on the market. Now, we also have a case of OP12 selling for $2,075. OP13 selling for $2,075. A lot of these are moving on a weekly basis. Everyone's waiting for OP13, so try and get your pre-orders in if you can find a decent price. I've had a lot of people ask me, I think if you can find the box around 200 Canadian if you're in North America, so like 145 USD, something like that, I think that's a fairly fair price to pay. It's obviously not the best price, but it's not terrible either, and I think a year from now, it's probably going to be more expensive than that and follow a similar trend to what OP09 did. So that's just my opinion. Moving on, we have a case of OP04, Kingdoms of Intrigue, $2,845. I think that comes out to like $237, $238, something like that per booster box. So moving up, OP04, we talked about that earlier this week. OP05 as well, another case going for $4,200. Lots of cases of this moving between like $4,000 and $4,500 USD is fairly common to see on eBay North America, at least over the past month or so. We also had a sealed case of PRB01 sell for 7,950 Australian or best offer. I did throw this into 130 point and it says it sold for 6,950 US, but I think what's going on here is again, one of these cases where 130 point is misreading the currency. I think this is supposed to be 6,950 Australian, which when you do the conversion is about 4,500 dollars USD, comes out to around 450 per box. And it makes sense because that would be 1,000 less than the listed price in Australian, and 6,900 US is way more than what this would have been just based on the initial listing price. So I think that's what's going on there. And we also have one more sealed item, I think, on the list this week. A lot of two Romance Dawn blue bottom booster boxes that sold for $6,300. So that's like what, $3,150 per box at auction, and they're fairly good condition boxes as well. We don't get photos of the bottom, but from what we can see, they look like they're in fairly decent shape. Now, moving into cards this week, we are going to start off with the Vegapunk from EBO2. This is the errata card, sold for $1,100 or best offer in a PSA 10. It sold for $850. So this is going to be one of those examples where it's listed above 1,000, sells below 1,000. Either way, this is the first time we've seen a PSA 10 of this show up, and it says in the title Pop 15. I think it's now up to Pop 16. So this card is still very rare, and I think that if you do own this card, one, I would probably recommend getting it graded, and two, I'd probably hold on to it right now. And following that up, we have a Trafalgar Law. Speaking of cards to hold on to, I actually just got mine back from PSA today. It did grade a PSA 10, and I know I said I was planning to sell these, but just holding it in my hand, I feel like I might just flip-flop on that again. I might also just buy it from myself and use like recreational money that I've put aside in my budget to buy this and just keep it, because although it's doubled in price since I sent it off, it is really cool. And I'm gonna put up a short here either tonight or tomorrow or something like that, just showing off the card. So very cool, $1,000 for this raw, or excuse me, in a PSA 10 at this point, and multiple copies selling in this range. I think lowest listed currently is like 1,300 Canadian on the market, which is about $1,000 USD. Now after that, we have a Marshall D. Teach wanted poster, BGS 10 black label. This is from OP09. This sold for $1,025 through Probstein. Massive sale there on a black label wanted poster. After that, we have a Marco. This is a regional championship, BGS 10. I believe this is top 32, it says. Prize card, this went for $1,099.99. We have another interesting card here. This is a one-piece certificate of our crew oversized card. I don't know exactly where these came from, if this was a PSA thing or a Bandai thing. I'm not exactly sure. So if you have more info, leave a comment down below. It is autographed though by Erica Schroeder, who I believe was the first voice actor for Luffy, and this went for $1,200 or best offer. I threw it into 130 point. It did sell for full asking price there, $1,200. So I'm not sure if you should consider this a card. It says it's oversized. We'll count in this video, and if it shows up again in the future at a different price, I'll probably include it again because it does look fairly cool. After that, we have a Kaido alt art leader from Romance Dawn. This is the pre-errata version apparently, according to the title, and it sold for $1,500 or best offer, and it did sell for $1,200. So a decent chunk there taken off for an offer, but this is another card that doesn't show up too often in our videos, so I figured it would be interesting, to say the least, to throw it in the video. Now moving on, we have a Jewelry Bonnie manga, $1,247 in a PSA 10. We also have a Reiju here. This is a Treasure Cup Top 8 prize card. This went for $1,345. PSA 10 pop on this is 7, and total pop is 7, so 100% gem rate at PSA so far, and a very expensive promo. We also have a Trafalgar Law alt art leader from Romance Dawn. I don't believe this is the pre-errata version, and this sold $1,425 USD. We also have the Luffy Dodgers promo. This is now up to about $1,500 in a PSA 10. You'll see consistent sales in this range, somewhere between $1,450 and $1,550. Sure, there are some outlier sales to the low end and the high end, but they are, the majority of them at least, in this range. So this Luffy card is already on the way back up. And keep an eye on this. I do think this is a card that could go even higher in the future, especially if you guys follow baseball. The Dodgers just made the World Series last night, and they're either going to be playing the Mariners or Toronto. And I think they have a very good shot against either of those teams. So if the Dodgers win the World Series this year, and with, you know, what's going on with One Piece and people buying out all the Luffy cards, this could be something that explodes in a month or so, maybe even less than that whenever the World Series is done. Now, moving on, we have the Luffy from OP11. This in a PSA 10 went for $1,500. So that's another card that's blowing up in price. These were around $700, $800 for the longest time. We have the Boa Hancock manga card in a PSA 10, $1,531 there. Another interesting card. This is the Tashigi SP from OP12 in English, and this sold in a BGS 10 black label for $2,000 or best offer. I threw it into 130 point. It sold for $1,600 USD, but a massive sale on an SP from a very new set. And Tashigi is not like the most popular character in One Piece either, so I wouldn't even consider her like a top 15 or 20 popular character. She is cool. I like her in Smoker, but to say that a card like this, just a regular SP, black label going for that price, it kind of is crazy. This might be a pop 1 or 2 though, just because it is a very new set, and that might explain the price tag. And I imagine if these show up in the future, it might be for a lower amount if that pop goes up. Now after that, we have the Ace. This is the reprinted manga from PRBO1. This sold in PSA 10, $1,625 USD. We have a Chopper. This is the EBO1 manga. I don't believe this is the reprinted one. $2,000 USD or best offer. I threw it into 130 point. It sold for $1,700 USD. So still a very strong sale there on Chopper. After that, we have a One Piece promo. This is Japanese from One Piece Day 2025. This is the Luffy in a BGS 10 black label. This sold for a whopping $2,575.18 through Probstein auctions. And we got a lot more cards to get through, so I am trying to pump out the first like 20 or so. We have a Sabo. This is an interesting one though. This is a BGS 10 black label, and this is the reprint from PRBO1, I believe. And this sold for $2,800 USD. So massive black label sale there. And there's going to be some larger ones coming up later in the video. We have a Zoro PSA 10 manga. This is the original from Wings of the Captain. $3,000 the best offer. Threw it into 130 point. It did sell for that $3,000. It's a different list, and you can tell by the background, this like wood background or whatever. I don't know why there's ones showing up above it, but there you go. After that, we have the Luffy BVB promo, BGS 10 black label. This sold $2,951. I think I saw another sale at like 3.1K this week as well. So there's definitely some variance in price, but this card is very expensive still. After that, we have the Red Luffy manga from OP13 in Japanese, $3,050. I saw another sale at $2,950. So this card is still around that 3,000-ish range in a PSA 10. After that, We have the '09 Luffy manga. This sold for $3,050 as well in a PSA 10, so very expensive there. We have the Shanks from Romance Dawn. This sold in a PSA 10, $3,100 USD, massive sale. After that, we have the Boa Hancock SP from Kingdoms of Intrigue. As you guys know, in a PSA 10, this is going for around like $500, $600 at this point. But here in a BGS 10 Black Label, this card sold for 4,000 Canadian or best offer, and it did indeed sell for 3,100 US. But again, I think this is where the 130 points just picking up Canadian as USD. So 3,100 Canadian, well, that would be like what, 2,500 USD, something like that. Either way, there's still a massive premium on the BGS 10 Black Label here, 4 to 5x. Speaking of Black Labels, we have the Shanks. This is the PSA Magazine promo card, I believe. This sold in a BGS 10 Black Label for $3,550. Huge sale here. It's crazy to me that some people are paying these prices on these cards, considering where they were a couple months ago. Either way, I still love the artwork of this. Price aside, I think it's an awesome Shanks card. We have EBO2 Manga Luffy. This sold for $4,100 in a BGS 10 non-Black Label. I saw another one sell, I think like $3,600, $3,700. So it's still in that range, somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000. We have a Black Label Kid. This is from OPO5, but this is the reprinted version from PRBO1, and this one sold for $5,100 as well. After that, we have the Ace. This again is the reprinted version from PRBO1, $5,100 here in a Black Label. After that, we have Japanese Silver Luffy from OP11. This sold for $5,600 in a BGS 10 Black Label. And then right after that, we have the Gold Luffy from OP11. This is in English. That sold in a BGS 10 non-Black Label for $5,800. So this card is continuing to move up. I think PSA 10 last week was $5,500, $5,550, $5,600, something like that. So the BGS 10 is a little bit higher than the PSA 10. The Black Label obviously has the massive premium. Now after that, Gold Roger, PSA 9, $6,000 USD. This is what the PSA 10 was going for a few months ago. Now the 9 is going for this price. Crazy here, and we will see a 10 showing up later in the video. We have Pre-Errata Luffy as well from OPO1. This sold 6,400 US or best offer. I threw it into 130 point. It sold for 5,500 US. So this card has definitely come down. If you guys remember back a couple weeks, we had sales up to I think $8,000 on this card. Now selling at 5,500. Maybe the 8,000 was a little bit high, especially considering it ran up from like $1,000. But either way, still a very expensive card. Then we have the Oda Luffy. This is from OPO5, English, PSA 10, 7,500 or best offer. It did sell for $6,000. I think there was another copy, here you go, from Dali Collectibles that sold for $6,000. So it's in that 6K-ish range now. This was a card, again, we saw sales up to I think like 10.5K, and it's kind of leveling out now around 6. Now after that, we have Japanese Gear 4 Luffy. This is from OP11, BGS 10 Black Label, $6,100 USD. Massive sale. I'm really looking forward to seeing one of these show up in English here soon. After that, we have another one of the Luffy Ichiro stamp cards from OPO5, $6,500. I threw this in just to show the difference again between the PSA version, which is selling for about 6K, and the BGS version selling a little bit more than that, almost 10% more. And that's fairly common with a lot of the top cards in One Piece, the BGS version being worth just a little bit more. Now after that, we have Pre-Errata Nami from Romance Dawn in a BGS 10 Black Label. Massive sale here, $6,600. A couple months ago, this card was like $2,500, $3,000, so more than doubled in the past couple months. Then we have Chopper, BGS 10 Black Label. This is the original from Memorial Collection, EBO1, $7,300 here. Massive, massive sale through Probsty, and that's not the largest Black Label we're gonna see this week. We have the Marshall D. Teach from OP12 in a BGS 10 Black Label. I'm pretty sure this is a silver version, but maybe this is the gold version, and my eyes are just really bad right now. Either way, $8,601 USD. Huge sale. Now after that, we do have the Gold Roger showing up in a PSA 10. I promised you guys it was coming. $9,600 on auction directly from the PSA vault. We also had a Gear 5 Luffy. This is the original from '05, not the reprinted version. $10,000. This was also coming from the vault. Now after that, We have another Nami. This is the PRBO1 manga in a BGS10 Black Label. $11,000, guys. Crazy sales we were seeing over the past 7 days. And that's not the largest sale either this week. We have this Luffy here. This is the event pack finalist, I think from 2023. BGS10 Black Label. 13.6K, $13,600, guys. Massive, massive sale. And after that, we have the Blackbeard from '09 in a Black Label BGS 10, $13,790 USD. Again, through Probstein. We also have the Priorata Law from OPO 1, $14,100 in a BGS 10 Black Label, guys. Crazy week. You can just look through all of these massive, massive sales. This might be a record, maybe not actually, for the amount of cards selling in a week over $10,000, but it's definitely up there, having 5 or 6 cards in that range. I will say the one thing I like about the BGS 10 labels, at least for these pre-errata cards, is you can see here it has like the quotations for what is kind of like the error on the card, I'm pretty sure. So if you come down here, it will say then play 1. So I'm guessing that's what was changed with the Bandai reprints of the card. And that's pretty interesting, I think, with PSA not doing that. It's just a small detail that helps out people buying the card so they can see the difference more easily. And then the final card this week, we have Serialized Luffy. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Anytime this card sells, it's probably going to be the final card on the list every week. Here we go, BGS 10 non-black label, $20,200. I think last week we had a sale at like 22.6K, so this is down about 10% from that sale, but still over $20,000 for a serialized Luffy out of 700. Very impressive. And that's going to be it for the video this week, guys. You let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite auction of the week? Mine probably has to be all of these black labels. I mean, I couldn't pick a favorite, but maybe the Nami. I mean, because we just don't see that in a black label show up too often. $11,000. And it's also through Z&G Emporium. It's not through Probstein. If you guys did get some value out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Leave a comment down below for the algorithm. If you are shopping, eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links down below. Free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on it before you're doing your shopping that you already plan to do. I get a small percentage of the sale at no extra cost to you. But again, you guys just being here and watching the videos, leaving a comment, a like, that's enough support that I need. So anything else is just going above and beyond. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you're having a great weekend. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.